Hey everyone, welcome to episode 1 of the Life Ain't Bad podcast. How's everyone doing? You been drinking enough water? Have you gotten your car serviced on time? Have you texted your mom recently? Great, that's amazing. Your silence is great to hear. Today, we'll be dissecting, it won't be that detailed, but we'll be talking about a part of our lives that affects us daily, unbeknownst to the majority of us as we've become numb to its existence. We go through the motions every single day without realizing that social media heavily affects and sways our thoughts and decision making. If I asked you, could you delete all your social media accounts tomorrow or live a month without them? I'm sure there'll be plenty of us that agree that a month is probably nothing. In reality, however, think of the number of times you unlock your phone and click on a notification every day. Regardless, social media has embedded itself into our everyday lives because we as humans are social creatures. No matter how much we live like hermits nowadays, we thrive when we're socially interacting with one another, even if it's online. But how much social media is too much? And how can you tell? So if I had to give a personal story, not really a story, but like in general how I feel and how social media made me feel is that, well, I've had my fair share of bouts with social media and how it was affecting me. There are days, and still are days, where I hop onto Instagram every 5 minutes because I'm bored or I'm hoping that something else would distract me from the things that I have to do throughout the day. And on some of those days, I feel worse after getting off of it. Be it Instagram, Reddit, and Twitter. You thought I was going to say TikTok, weren't you? Well, you know what? Joke's on me. Because I feel old as hell and not having the willpower to add another social media platform into my life. Regardless, I feel terrible because I get on it and see something that upsets me or puts me in a spot where I start comparing my life to everyone else's. That's not what social media's purpose is. You should be posting your life on there, achievements, work you're proud of, and generally having fun on those apps. But there are certain times where I get on Instagram and I see people going out and having fun. People around me posting up news on their promotions, and I start feeling as if I'm going backwards compared to everyone else. These are people that I know personally, and because of that, it cuts so much deeper than it should, because these are people who I've known for years, even though I don't speak to them very often anymore. Guys, I'm sorry. I want to reconnect, and I will make an effort to reconnect. I'm sorry, we'll get there. But they're moving forward to where they want to go. And here, I'm struggling to even move sideways. I've spent months and months, if not years, thinking if life is just as it is, that saying, it is what it is. And I recycle the questions. What do I want to do in life? And what do I want to do for a living? Sure, I have a job, friends, and family, and a roof over my head. But these battles with how social media makes me feel, it's as if I have less than what everyone has around me. To me, that's troubling because the constant barrage of negativity takes me away from the good old habit of being grateful for what I have, instead of constantly comparing myself. It's tiring because there came a point where I would constantly be upset at discovering plenty of friends who moved to another job to bolster their careers, or they bought their first apartment, or they've gotten a nice holiday that I'd be thinking, damn, I gotta save up some money so I can blow hundreds of bucks on sushi in Japan too. Not that I've ever done that, but it was really hard for me to look at people do things in life that I wished I could do, and every instance would make me feel worse and worse. I'd get upset because people I didn't know even personally were going on road trips without me. The audacity, how dare they? Because of how shitty social media has made me feel, I felt inclined to talk about it and see if you, my beautiful, beautiful listeners, are going through or have gone through the same thing. So with all this said, let's get into the episode. It's going to be fun, isn't it? It's going to be fun. Yeah, let's go. Let's jump into it, okay? So today we'll be talking about social media and what we can do to live with it. If we look back at how we used to communicate, we've come an extremely long way, with a much longer way to go. We began communication through smoke signals to the written word for centuries, well until the telegraph was invented in 1792. Before then, the only way to send a message to someone thousands of kilometers away was through paper without a tracking number. Imagine Pigeon with a FedEx brand on his body flying your letter halfway across the world just so it could go, Twiki Twiki! Cassandra was such a B word, Twiki Twiki! It's unthinkable with the convenience we live with now. But then, telephones and radios hit the scene in the 1800s, resulting in more or less instant communication. Millennials, we remember tuning into the radio stations in the early 2000s, don't we? We remember listening to this jingle whilst tuning to Hits.fm, if you're Malaysian, of course. And it goes, Rig D's in a weekly top 40. And even now, we tune into more news-centric radio stations when we're on our drive to and from work. All this just paved the way for social media to birth itself into existence and rapidly grow into an almighty entity. After radio and telephones, virtual newsletters and posts could be shared on news groups through localized computer networks called CompuServe and Usenet. And then in 1985, the Well and Genie were born. The earliest forms of social media apps followed by List First, a mailing list that allowed individuals to contact multiple users in one email. Then, in 1994, the Palace came about, a chat room where you could have your own tennis ball-faced avatar. I mean, the Palace itself sounds lustful, doesn't it? It just sounds like a chamber of, I don't know what the word is anymore. No, escorts. Everyone's just hanging around in a palace. Man, that's sus. Okay, that's sus. But then what came next is what most of us are familiar with. At least those of you who are tuning in. We remember Friendster and MySpace, don't we? Well, before that, 6 Degrees was the first true social media site where you could upload pictures and make friends. Not as sophisticated as Friendster and MySpace, of course. Friendster came up in 2002. It's Malaysian built, by the way, Malaysians. I keep saying Malaysians. Obviously, I'm repping my country, but whatever. Now we can claim to be proud about another thing on top of the other 10 things that we're proud of. And then blogging grew in popularity from 2003 onwards, with WordPress coming up alongside photo sharing through PhotoBucket and Flickr. Then YouTube, which burst onto the scene in 2004. Whereas Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram were birthed between 2005 till 2010. These platforms, up till now, proved to be extremely resilient and flexible to our ever-changing social needs. Coupled by newer platforms that prioritize video sharing, most notably Vine, rest in peace, one of the best platforms to ever exist, and of course, TikTok. Now that we're caught up, let's really talk about social media. The pros of social media. Yes, social media exists to benefit our lives, and if it was bad, it'd be as frowned upon as eating chips in the cinema. Oh man, the cinema. Oh, I miss it. Guys, hit me up in the DMs if you want to cry in a movie theater with me. I just want to lie on your shoulder, hold your hand a little bit, I just want to hold your hand, bro. Just let me hold your hand and let's just cry together. It'd be beautiful. Anyways, first and foremost, social media is so important to connect everyone around the world. We use social media to build communities and a sense of belonging to groups, be it about religion, sports, games, or because you all think The Office is the best show to ever grace our existence. Debatable. We strengthen relationships through social media as it allows us to have instantaneous communication. On a more humanitarian view, we use social media to bring light and awareness towards ongoing situations, be it tragedies or blessings around the world. It brings forth societal issues that plague our communities, and it gives us the methods to offer help and relieve the suffering of others. It allows us to come together, to discuss and seek solitude, away from bearing your mental troubles alone. Social media, in a weird sense, can act as a shelter and a sanctuary away from the problems we face every day. Business-wise, it boosts our online presence and it connects us with our customers. It's a massively cost-effective marketing strategy, obviously, to grow your business, as well as your podcast that you just decided to conjure up a week ago and shove it in your friends' faces as you try your darndest to get cool people onto your pod. Not me. Could not be me. Anyways, we'll get there. It also allows NGOs and charities to promote their causes, which gives us the information to provide help where necessary. Social media stimulates visualization. Visualization. Social media stimulates visualization. When we follow those that inspires us and pushes us to achieve the dreams we desire. Existing dreams or dreams developed throughout the period you followed said individuals or accounts. It acts as a platform for us to receive guidance and motivation to strive to be our best selves. It gives us ideas on how to improve and how to enjoy life as it is. Despite social media's boom since its creation in 1997, the biggest issue occurs when you, the listener, are on social media far too much. But how do we know when too much is too much? To the point that social media harms us more than it does us good. Let's find out. How can you tell social media is affecting you negatively? There are a few telltale signs that signal social media may be affecting you in a negative way. When any of this starts, perhaps it's time to step back a little bit and reassess why you use social media the way you do. Numero uno. One that is rather obvious is when you start comparing yourself unfavorably with others. I've been down this hole many times, and I still go down this hole sometimes. It's not a good hole. Don't go into this hole. But anyways, have you ever logged into Instagram, gone through your feed, and you felt upset? Have you ever slumped deeper into your chair and thought about why that's so? Have you ever wished you could be someone else? Or have what others have just by looking at their photos and captions then felt somewhat lost in life? I don't blame you. I've had my fair share of wishing I could own a multi-million-dollar makeup empire whilst birthing a child at 21 like Kylie Jenner. We all did at some point. Social media is a double-edged sword, where you're in contact with people and content that inspires you, but at what point does all that content stay beneficial to you? When you start feeling pressured by achievements and fun from accounts of people you know or don't even know, where it depicts them having a better life, climbing the corporate ladder, or a lot quicker, or constantly going out and having fun, and that upsets you, put your phone down and relax a second. Just put it away. Okay, you know what? Toss it out your window. Don't toss it out your window. Put it in your cupboard. Leave it there. I don't know. Do something where you can't see it. Just take a breather and inhale the air from your balcony. Just go outside. Take a breather, okay? We're addicted to the idea of knowing if we're able to compete with others. Even if you're feeling down and you've accepted that perhaps your life isn't going as smoothly as it should. It hurts because you care. Every day we're bombarded with content of everyone on your timeline achieving something cool, and naturally they're going to hype it up. All this content have two things in common, though. They're easy manipulated, and most of the time we'd only post something up if we feel it warrants showing off, or if it's a highlight that we'd love to share with our followers and the world. Why would this affect us negatively, though? Someone asked me this a while ago, and I think about it all the time. Do you remember all the times you've had a good drive? Or do you remember all the times someone's pissed you off on the road? When you get pissed off, does this affect your day somehow? Even just for an hour or so. We tend to remember incidents that are negative and forget to acknowledge all the good that happens in a day, even if nothing particularly eventful happened. When people ask you, how was your day? Most days you just reply with, I don't know, it's an okay. It was okay. I don't know, it was fine. We neglect appreciating a day being okay to the point that one bad incident could ruin the whole thing. This concept is similar to viewing content on social media. It's normal for us to be spoiled for choice when it comes to content, to the point that when someone's achievements stand out more than the others in the form of a post, we're easily drawn to the perception that someone is moving ahead in life. This inadvertently makes us think back on what we've achieved recently. We feel down by this incident and forget all the good content that you've consumed in the past 2 hours. You've been lying in your bed, in your pajamas. And if you're frequently feeling down because of this, again, perhaps it's time to reevaluate the way you use social media. Number 2. How hard have you FOMO'd? Be honest. FOMO, the fear of missing out. Have you ever caught yourself returning back to Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, time and time again? Are you worried about being left out of conversations, latest news, gossip, or worried that you're not replying a DM quick enough? Do you ever feel like your relationships will suffer if you don't like, share, and respond to a post or a DM? Chances are, I may be able to diagnose you with FOMO. Unprofessionally though, But I don't know. Okay, I said I don't know. I'm not liable for anything that you go through right now. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll give you quick examples if it isn't clear enough yet, or if you're just in denial, just as I was for a long time. Have you ever looked at a group of friends go out for dinner like hot pot and you get upset that you didn't know about it? Or someone posts up being at a football match when you both have talked about getting a game organized so many times only for it to happen unknowingly? Yeah, you get it. Okay, here's another one that perhaps would be applicable to a crap ton of us. Here's the scenario. You start liking a girl or guy from your choice of dating app. You follow each other on social media, and now you are stuck in a vicious cycle of constantly checking on their Instagram stories to see what they're up to every 5 minutes. Alright, fine, every minute, okay? I'll be real, every minute. Don't gotta expose me that way, guys. Relax, okay? But then, you don't see anything about you. Or you shot them a text earlier and they haven't replied you, but they have the audacity, the gall, the cheek to post something up instead of replying you? Oh boy, we've all been there at some point. The FOMO of not pouncing onto the opportunity to slip in a comment about their stories too. You know what? You just have so much FOMO that you're not doing enough. So much FOMO that you're afraid that they're not going to reply you if you just don't reply instantly. It's terrible. And that's how social media traps us so often. Man. Okay, you know what? No, that's not me. Couldn't be me. There's more to this, however, than we think. FOMO can slowly evolve into something more sinister. Something called perceived social isolation. Something along the lines of loneliness. A research article by the American Journal of Preventive Medicine in 2017 concluded that the higher your social media usage is, the greater your perceived social isolation is. The irony of it is, the more social you think you're being on social media, the less sociable life feels. Becoming less sociable meaning not socializing directly with friends, family, or followers. Instead, loads of us get on social media, we see what everyone's doing, and it hurts us because we can potentially feel as if we don't belong within a circle of friends, or a group that you very much believe to be a part of but evidently aren't. Or even think back on the plans that never came to fruition. We feel the loneliness build up because naturally as humans, we're a tribal species. But like what we've been talking about throughout the episode, social media is easily manipulated and easily manipulates your perceptions on your relationships. Sometimes, it pushes you to believe something sinister is happening, when in actual fact, we're just trying to find reason to our loneliness and pain, and to be able to blame it on something. Just know that that's far from the truth. Another way to tell you're on social media too much? This one may not be directly correlated, but think about this for a second. What are the last few things you do before you lay your head on your pillow? The first thing in the morning? It's a brave guess on my part, but I'd say the majority of us checks our social media. Like browse Twitter, check Instagram, or even look at emails. So what does all this mean? Do you wake up and say, I don't want to get up? It's likely we all suffer from sleep deprivation. You see, social media is not the main cause of sleep deprivation. Rather, it is a catalyst or a stimulant. It constantly tempts us to turn our screens back on, and that causes sleep problems. According to the studies conducted by Harvard, I'm going to be a real uncle and auntie right now. I'm just gonna tell it to you, okay? Blue light emitted from screens causes suppression of melatonin, the hormone that, simply put, helps you sleep. We've all been guilty of staying up late because we needed our dose of funny memes on Instagram, and that's all right. It's just important that we are aware that 3 hours of TikTok before bed isn't exactly better than sleep, guys. Get off TikTok. You need to go to work tomorrow, okay? You need to go to school. Put it down. Now, there is another way of determining if you're on it too much, and that's worsening symptoms of anxiety or depression. Now, this is a hard topic to tackle, and it will be talked about in a further episode, as there's just too much to unpack here. And this is a necessity to do so. So, it's better if we got a professional onto the pod, so that we can talk about these things. It's tricky when you're suffering from depression and anxiety because social media wouldn't function as it's intended to be used. When you suffer from symptoms of similar difficulties, actually, this extends to all walks of life. But social media is notoriously used to escape and disappear from reality periods at a time. For example, not wanting to pick up your laundry because watching your friends' food stories are more fun, Or you've got work due, but you choose not to do it. You choose not to do it because Twitter is popping off because America did something weird again. Or perhaps you're waiting in line for something and cannot deal with just standing there and doing nothing but wait. So you get pressured into thinking you're getting judged. So you whip up your phone and hide away. We've all been guilty of relying on social media to escape responsibilities. Not necessarily through interacting with others, rather, we float and move through endless amounts of content to procrastinate, to forget. There isn't anything wrong with suffering from depression or anxiety, obviously. But when you feel yourself prioritizing similar forms of escape to feel better, it can worsen your position and increase reliance on it. It's easier said than done, of course, but it's a sign to tell someone about it or even DM me. We can joke around all day if you're down. If you're up to just waste time, why not, you know? But we'll be tackling depression and anxiety in another episode, and hopefully we can take it and go through it in a more lighthearted manner. Now, how do we live with social media? With all this said and done, I could list down for you all of the many wondrous ways to stop social media, or what you could do to get rid of all this. The thing is, if we're being realistic, there is no way any of us could truly live without social media. Unless you're an aspiring monk paving your way to seek solitude in the Himalayas. I don't even know if Himalayas is the place where monks seek solitude, but it sounds like it, okay? Don't hate me for this. I'm sorry. My geography is bad. With that said, we cannot eliminate social media from our lives, but we can learn to live with it in the healthiest way possible. Now, there is a common theme with everything I will suggest from here on out, and that keyword is acceptance. I don't mean this in a defeatist way because you, my listeners, can never be defeated. You'll lose, but only to win later on. So, how do you maneuver around beginning to feel bad about those you follow, be it people or news sources? I've been there, following incredibly successful YouTubers and getting upset because I don't have the proper high quality equipment to produce my own cooking channel and eating my own glorious food after. The agony. I don't have a crew to film me. Well, the one thing that truly allowed me to get over myself and get off the wishful thinking was to accept that these guys and gals worked for what they have. We often forget that yes, they're successful and accomplished, but none of us know that there are stories of how they ended up there. We cannot begin to understand their trials and tribulations, unless they drop the stories on the YouTube Q&A, obviously. We've all been shaped differently, be it environmentally, emotionally, and whatnot, to the point that we all have our different skill sets. The quicker we realize that perhaps they got the right mix going to get them there, the quicker we can begin to dissect what that mix is and get ourselves that sweet brew of talents and skills. The most important part is to accept that our basket contains different skills and skills that are yet to be obtained and mastered. Comparing yourself to others is absolutely fine, but give yourself a chance. We'll all end up somewhere because we dare to compare. If I'm honest, I was in a mental rut for the longest of time. I longed to be able to make content that you'd see on million subscriber YouTube channels. Not for the clout, but the same reasons that they do it. Passion. We feel trapped and unable to replicate their success because social media makes it feel as if the amount of effort and time and luck to get there seems mountainous, astronomical, if not close to impossible. But why are we letting the numbers of followers on likes on social media tell us that we can't make it? We make the numbers. We get the likes. You and I. We have the power. We are the ones that decide who gets there. Ooh, what a realization. Whoa, hell yeah. So, I don't want to be some kind of preacher guy, but like, get off your butt and be like me. Get those 10 likes on your post. Get those 10 listeners on your podcast. Frig it. We're gonna reach 1 million in like next week. Okay, don't worry about it. You're gonna reach 1 million next week. You're gonna reach $1 million in your stocks next week. Screw it. You're fine. The truth is, I'm happy not because of the numbers, because I love doing this. It's so fun. How do you deal with the fear of missing out? This one's irritating because we've been asking ourselves, what if, since we learned of the question's existence? When you start feeling left out by friends or even influencers to an extent, it's time to reevaluate. There are several things here that I've learned to accept to get over FOMO. Firstly, accepting that yes, you're suffering from the agonizing FOMO and you need a way to get rid of it. Now, secondly, you can go on to accepting that you may not be missing out at all. Social media, as we all know, is hyped. It is hyped. It's a hyped up version of life at the end of the day. We love posting up stories and highlights when we're having fun, but not when we're down and out. Sit back and think about all the times you were out doing what you wish your friends were doing right now. Have you ever been doing all that but wish you were just home, showered and clean in your pajamas, binge watching videos on your phone? Oh man, sounds good. Chances are perhaps you're not the only one missing out. Your friends could be feeling the exact same way. The exact same way of not getting invited out or prefer being at home instead. We all ideally wait on the side wishing a plan came up. What I'm trying to say is, reach out and make plans. Reach out and make plans if you're feeling FOMO and feel like you're not being included. Do it. Reach out and make plans with people. Pandemic-friendly ones, of course. Pandemic-friendly ones. Get a few online card games going, or play beat-up games that lost its hype like Among Us, or just get into a chat room and talk smack about one person from high school. If you're feeling anxious that perhaps your friends wouldn't want to hang out, remember all the times that you've been invited to an event and how happy it made you feel to join. I'll tell you with absolute confidence that they'd feel the exact same thing. One thing that I've come to understand, and this is important, listen. We experience FOMO because we're lacking happiness. So, we turn to social media to look for it. But that only makes it worse because this happiness isn't exactly ours. So go out there and get it. Or rather, get your friends or acquaintances or followers or your dog to do something with you. It's as simple as that. It does sound tedious. It does sound like a big thing for those who suffer with social anxiety. And I understand that. But there are times whereby, yes, you want to expect your friends to ask you out first. But at the same time, think about how that made you feel when someone asked you out. If you were to do the exact same thing, can you imagine how they'd feel as well? It's as simple as that. Just think about how they would feel and pull yourself out of your body for a second and look at it from a bird's eye view. And you'll see that sometimes the simplest of things that you could do makes the biggest change. And once you do it once, it's going to come so naturally the next million times. So I'm with you with this, okay? And if you guys can't do it, I'll do it for you, okay? Introduce me to your friend. I'll set you guys a play date. Hell yeah, okay? It's fine. I'm there for you, okay? The third way to deal with living with social media is that you need to accept what you have in the moment and truly live in it. Yes, indulge in your hobbies, your games, your crocheting, watching Netflix. Learn to savor the moment. In other words, fulfill the lack of happiness caused by FOMO by doing what you enjoy or what you can accomplish now. Make everyone fear not doing what you're doing. Plot your vengeance against them. Turn the FOMO against them. You don't need the FOMO. You don't need it. Give it to someone else, you know? Remember, this is for you and no one else. You don't have to post it up on social media and shouldn't feel like you need to. However, of course, there's nothing wrong with that too, just as long as you're doing it with the right intentions to flex on your haters. Post it up. Post up whatever you're doing. Have fun with it. I'm kidding, but you get me. Also not kidding. You get me. If you do decide to post it up, you know that this can be used to your benefit as well when it comes to your crush. Show them how productive you are. Nothing screams sexy more than videos of the banana bread you filmed in 10 different filters, or a monologue of how you joined the revolution to topple American hedge funds. I know that was a long time ago, but hey man, that was fun. I didn't join. The FOMO. Oh no, it's creeping up. At the end of the day, jealousy is all the fun you think they had. Period. At the end of the day, jealousy is all the fun you think they had. Practice gratitude in what you already have. What you got, they don't got. What you got is yours. You're special. And lastly, here's a typical method of moderating your social media intake. And this one is tied directly to your sleep patterns. Now, I've been practicing this as much as I can, and as much as my relationships with my girlfriend allows, because man, you just don't get off the phone with them. You stay on and on. You get the point. Oh, and if there are any of you out there who don't got one of those relationships, hey man, it's overrated anyways. Relationships take up so much time. You could be using all that time producing a podcast instead. Anyways, what I've been practicing are these steps. Set your alarms and charge your phone before you wash your face, brush your teeth, and fill up that huge ass bottle that you keep bedside so you can stay hydrated. And if there's anyone not doing that yet, I will find you and I will moisten your soul. So you better get that big ass bottle by your bedside and drink that. Drink that guy in the morning. You got it? Thing is, you just got to wind down for 10 to 15 minutes before sleep. Put your phone away. Make sure that 10-15 minutes before you sleep, you're not looking at your phone whatsoever. Get it all ready. Get it all inconvenienced for you to turn it back on. So try it for a week and see how your sleeps go. I've tried this for a few weeks and I can say I still feel like butt in the morning, but I'm definitely more energetic throughout the day. Give it a shot and see how it goes. You know, just, I don't know. Tell me how your sleeps went, I guess. That was deeper than I thought it'd be. Was it deep? You decide. I genuinely hope this episode has helped you and brought you the peace you were looking for, or has allowed you the steps to work towards your goal of not letting social media control your emotions and dictate your actions. If you ever feel the need to speak to someone about these problems, I'd suggest a professional. But if you're on a tight budget, you can always talk to me on my Instagram or on Podcast's Instagram. The irony, asking people to DM me on social media when we just had all of this. Hey, I get lonely sometimes too, okay? Being able to talk to someone about nothing is soothing sometimes. So if you need to discuss anything, I'm sort of right there for you. Sort of. I'll try my best. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. Let me know what else you'd like me to talk about. And I'm thinking of getting one of y'all on here too to share your experiences. So if you're interested, be sure to really shoot me a DM and let me know. Remember, folks, life ain't bad. It's just complicated. I'll see you around in the next episode.